Hi there. Welcome to my Others Keeper Mental Health Monday. I just want to remind you that I am not a mental health professional. I am a survivor and I am someone who lives with a mental illness. So I am going to read about borderline personality disorder today. It is frequently misdiagnosed as bipolar disorder because so many of the symptoms are the same, but there are some distinct differences. So we're going to start out just by talking about the cause. The cause of borderline personality disorder is unclear, but seems to involve genetic, neurological, environmental, and social factors. It's 5 times more likely to occur in a person who has one or more affected immediate relatives. Adverse life events also play a role. So when you're looking at why do you have it? Well, high possibility is somebody in your immediate family has it or another mental illness. So it doesn't have to be exactly borderline, it could be almost anything else. Overall, the symptoms and signs. So frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment, unstable and chaotic interpersonal relationships, often characterized by alternating between extremes of idealization and devaluation. It's also known as splitting. So a person is the best person in the world until one day, the smallest thing, and then they're the worst person in the world, and you never ever want to see them again. There's also a markedly disturbed sense of identity and distorted self image. So a lot of dysmorphia. So not shape. So outside of the realm of reality as to how you see yourself. Um, Impulsive or reckless behaviors. So that's one way where bipolar and borderline personality tend to converge. Uh, Impulsive and reckless behaviors are frequently seen in both disorders. Recurrent suicidal ideation or self harm. Now, this is a big one. With bipolar disorder, you will more likely see the suicidal ideation, much less likely to see self harm. Borderline personality disorder, self harm is a big indicator. Rapidly shifting intense emotional dysregulation. So, again, your mood shifts very quickly. Chronic feelings of emptiness. What is life all about and where do I fit in it? And the lack of hope. So, I want you to know that there is hope. Life does get better. And if you have a community of people around you, you can be supported. Also, inappropriate, intense anger that can be difficult to control. Do you ever have that rage, that absolute rage that shows up and nothing really caused it, or just the slightest thing caused it, and then you just blow up? That can be a sign or symptom. And then there's transient self stress related paranoia or severe dissociative symptoms. So, dissociative means you're outside yourself, you are separating yourself from the reality of what's happening. Or paranoid, you feel like, we all know what paranoia is. I have a friend who feels like when she's walking through the hospital that security is always looking at her, wondering if she's going to steal something. But overall, the most distinguishing symptoms of BPD are pervasive patterns of instability in interpersonal relationships, self image, altering between extremes of idealization and devaluation of others, along with varying moods, difficulty regulating strong emotional reactions. Dangerous or impulsive behavior is also correlated with that behavior. So, speeding, like just being very reckless in your spending, being very reckless interpersonally, those are all very, very common with borderline personality disorder. And the last one that I really want to highlight is self harm and suicide. I do not have borderline personality disorder, but I have attempted to end myself twice a long time ago. I have a very, very, very good friend who has borderline personality disorder, and she self harms regularly. And that's one of the biggest distinguishing features between her illness and mine. Self harming or suicidal behavior is one of the core diagnostic criteria in the DSM 5. Self harm occurs in 50 to 80% of people with borderline personality disorder. The most frequent method of self harm is cutting. It's not the only one, but it is the most common. It's amazing to think that 80% of any group could want to hurt themselves so badly. Keeping in mind, suicidal ideation and self harm do not necessarily go together. So you could be a cutter, but you don't want to cut yourself bad enough to actually end what's going on in your life. You just want to get rid of that emotional pain with something physical. It is very debilitating. It is very destructive. There's no question. But there is hope. There's treatment. There's community. If you see a psychologist, they can help you work through a lot of these dysregulated emotions, etc. Now, I know that therapy can cost a lot of money, but in Canada, I do know that there are some very, very good, inexpensive methods of therapy. If you want some information on that, you can dial 811 in any province and talk to a psych nurse, and they will be able to help you out with more information. So 811 is the healthcare line across Canada, and you'll be able to talk to a psych nurse for free. So I do offer hope, and I know that you can work through life and get a community around you. I'll see you again. Bye.